I'm Kate Sanderson-Holly. I am a yoga teacher. I've been teaching yoga for 8 years. I'm due in 2 days, so I'm about 40 weeks pregnant. Doing yoga has completely changed my entire mental landscape from, I think I started doing yoga about 12 years ago, and before that, I had a lot of anxiety and depression, and just the way that I thought about things was completely different than how I do now. And it's been a gradual process that's been 12 years. I'm much more able to be flexible in my mental relationship to things, which a lot of people have said is a really important part of both the pregnancy and just having children, to be able to not put your expectations on things, but actually just be present and be like, okay, this is what's happening now, and I'm open to it. So I think for sure, yoga has prepared me for everything in my life, but especially something like this. My only birth plan is as little intervention as possible, so I intend not to take any drugs, I intend not to be induced, but as most of my midwives have said, birth plans are more like, you should be very flexible because you don't know what's going to happen, but I don't anticipate that I will need a lot of intervention, just based on how smoothly my pregnancy has gone and how many tools I already have from my yoga practice for breathing and being a little bit more in my my primal brain. I have a lot of experience with being able to kind of go into a headspace that's not so analytical, and just working with that listening to the body process. But I've never been in labor yet, so we'll see if it actually is. But from everything I've read and heard about labor, it seems like the tools that my yoga practice has given me will be extremely useful to the experience and to being able to endure it and not necessarily need medical intervention. But again, you never know.
I'm Nikki Weaver. I've been teaching yoga since 2005. Hatha, prenatal, power, children, and I'm 39 weeks pregnant. I want to do a water birth if all goes to plan, but having midwives there that are supportive and sort of just them in the room and my husband. Other than that, same with the meditation and the yoga background. I feel kind of confident going in. I have no great fears about going into labor. Just that the breath will support, and that I'm able to kind of, again, switch into a different mindset. I think that'll help me relax in labor. The breath, for me, and the meditation of being able to kind of notice whether it's a challenging pose or labor pain, of the ways that we relate to pain, and what kind of things they bring up mentally for us, or emotionally or physically. I come from a really strong running background, so pain has been part of my life for a long time. And moving from running more towards yoga has been a really interesting shift in my own life personally and emotionally, how I approach kind of situations.
I've had a lot of people say, I even had a massage therapist who was like, oh, all pregnant ladies waddle, like you get to this stage, and today my friend was commenting, you're not waddling at all, and there's this pregnant lady across the street, and she's like, yeah, I haven't had any low back pain, which I've heard is really common, and I think that's partly because I'm not waddling, because I think if you walk in a certain way, you're gonna cause more pain for your low back. So being aware of how I carry myself, and also being strong and flexible enough to accommodate those changes, I think has really helped me to not have too much pain in my body, and to be able to move my body in a way that keeps it feeling good.
I think the strength and the flexibility that yoga provides for me has been like no low back pain, no swelling. I've been really lucky, I think, in that sense. Yeah, this is Margot Penny Weaver. She'll be 6 weeks on Tuesday. She was 6 pounds, 10 ounces, and 19.5 inches long.
This is August Rivers Hawley. He was born June 14th, 2012, 8 pounds, 11 ounces, 20.5 inches.
We left for the birthing center about 10:30, got there at 11, and she was born at 1:30 a.m.
So then we went to the hospital and got there around 5:30 in the morning. And then he was born at 8:30 in the morning after a really intense, but I guess pretty short labor.
The day I went into labor, I did a 90-minute Ashtanga class. I ran 5 miles, and then I taught at Root my Power Vinyasa students, and I remember them looking around the room saying, "Are you sure you're not going to have this baby in our class, Nikki?" And I said, "Oh, I don't think so, it's fine." And so seeing them since then, I mean, they're all amazed. They're like, "Nikki, you taught us the day you went into labor."
In my experience, it was a very young experience. It was what I was calling upon is more what I would call upon if I was trying to do like a really hard pose that was kind of scary to me, and it was going to require a lot of muscle and a lot of strength, and something I wasn't totally sure if I could do, but I have to try to do it anyway.
There's something about yoga and labor that are similar in terms of being able to work through chaos, whether it's in our bodies or in our lives or in our minds. And that's something that labor seemed so much to me like, this chaos that you don't understand. Am I in labor? Am I not? How long will this last? Is there an end? Feeling like, I can't believe I'm screaming. And at one point when the contractions were strong at home, I remember, similar to what Kate was talking about, I got in the bathtub, I got on the floor, I got on the bed, I laid on the bathroom floor, I sat on the toilet, of trying to figure out what would make me more comfortable. And I think we do that in yoga too, of like finding alignment. Maybe it's the breath one day, maybe it's the mind. Whether it's getting deeper into a pose or just bearing into the heat of it.
I count myself lucky because I had a friend who gave birth about a month before me, and she had a 36-hour labor. So I think 3 or 4 hours of conscious labor is good, but it was also really intense. And some of the nurses said, yeah, sometimes when it's this fast, it can be more intense because it's so much to cope with right away. I think both the yin and the yang of yoga are helpful for the experience. I think more than I think what I was imagining when I was pregnant, I was thinking, well, right now I just want to do things that help my body feel relief right now. So a lot of hip openers and things like that. And those are important, but I also think I could have focused a bit more actually on strengthening, because apparently I did end up using quite a lot of lower body strength. So I think that would be just as important.
Yeah, and then there's something extraordinary afterwards about seeing this little teeny being in your arms that is suddenly yours. It's kind of shared your body for 9 months. I think because it was fast and because of the yoga, I felt calm through a lot of it too. But yeah, I'd be really interested to talk with more women and share my experience. And yeah. And especially when I tell people that I taught and ran the day that I went into labor and he's, standing on my head.
I learned how to give birth in my body, and that was a brand new experience for my body.